I grew up in Western Colorado,
Right.
Lauren Boebert's district
Oh,
now.
wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah, pretty conservative place. You kind of touched on this, but I think there's like an empathy there with the people that we talk to,
Hmm.
understanding that, they could be people we grew up with or that we could be them. I think is under the surface there, but it's definitely a something that I think we both kind of realize, and sometimes we end up calling out the hypocrisy and everything like that. But I think it's done knowing that a lot of these people are not bad people at all. They're people who are, as we talked about, defining themselves by a set of very dubious ideas,
Yeah,
but they're not bad people. So
yeah,
I think we try and take that to what we do a little bit and to the way in which we interact with people.
that's good. Empathy is important. I can totally imagine a point in high school. I had the two paths. I got into one, Washington and Lee University. The Lee being the Robert E. Lee of the Confederacy, or two, UC Santa Cruz, the mascot of which is the banana slug. And I went,
Banana slugs. I
and
was this close to going there too.
oh man, it's such a beautiful place in the redwoods there, and that is
And
the
no
decision.
grades. They don't give you grades. That
They
was tempting.
they didn't used to. They didn't like
Yeah.
where you see my
What does that
year
mean? You just get like a tree leaf or
There's like a
something?
pass
Or
fail, and yeah, they
basically.
say good job no matter what.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, right. You
redwood leaf.
you get a
Great.
narrative evaluation, and if the
yeah.
professor actually bothers to like fill that out, it can be useful. Or they can just put a template thing that equates to a grade anyway, and it's not useful at all. So, you can get either, but
You
it's
didn't do
such a
great.
beautiful.
I'm just going to give you one pat on the back
Hmm.
instead of two here. Sorry. Sorry.
Ain't
You
nothing
see,
wrong with that.
and
But what are grades, man? If we're talking about Jerry Garcia, what does it even mean, man?
oh man, yeah, no, I remember like somebody my first year there, like somebody like got high on mushrooms and like punched the window out of their dorm room, not far from me, and like had to get like stitches. I mean, it was kind of a crazy place back then, and I was like one of like two or three people, and I probably knew all of them who never smoked pot throughout all of UC Santa Cruz because I needed, like, coming from the environment that I did, I mean, it probably would have been useful to me. But I had enough of a shell, so a resistance to that, so that I wasn't going to do that. But eventually, over the course of time, it began to seep in terms of my politics and my social
Well, let me
interaction.
ask: how long did you hang on to that NRA card at UC
Oh,
Santa Cruz? How long did it take you to lose that?
I think I got rid of that by the time I was, God, it must have been late in high school because even
Okay.
by late in high school I was like, going from like hardcore like right wing social conservative towards like I was starting to become more libertarian. And by the time the first couple of years I was at UC Santa Cruz, it was more like, oh, I'm kind of libertarian, but okay, there's some interesting ideas here. And then like and then I drifted more and more. And then once I got into the real world, got married, had kids, had to find had to find a job, had to pay for health care, had to deal with all these real world things. They say that's supposed to turn you conservative. To me, it completely did the opposite. Like, to me, it pushed me further and further to the left, having to deal with all this stuff because I saw, wow, there's some real, capitalist predation going on here. And so I took all of those strains, but it still does leave you, and I'm so glad that you guys bring this to it too, a sense of empathy, because you can still relate, and you realize that they still, everyone that you interact with, regardless of how batty the ideas are, whether you're in mourning for Jerry Garcia or you're wearing a Donald Trump armband, it's they're still human beings coming from a particular place. They may have taken a long, strange path in order to get there, but they're still human beings, and the attempt to relate and interact with them, whether you're successful at any particular moment, is still worth the effort. And I'm so glad that you guys do that because comedy and satire, I mean, it shows up the contradiction, and that's great too. But you're still in a room talking to people face to face. And because we are social beings, people remember that and they take something with it. So I'm thinking maybe my hope is that you guys are, in addition to making us all laugh a bunch, planting seeds for the future in these individuals. And at some point, they'll turn around, and it might not be weeks, might be months, might be years, but they'll think about it and say, that was interesting. And I remember that. And he was talking to me and focusing on that. And maybe I will give that another thought. And that, to me, is a really positive thing that could come out of all of this.
I would love that. I would love that. But I am so scared for the future right
yes.
now.
Yeah,
when
no,
Donald Trump, if he's elected president and January 6th becomes a national holiday, I don't know that those thoughts are going to happen. We got to get or at least they have to happen in the next 9 months if we want to get this.
Yeah, and you can't always accelerate those. So you guys have launched The Good Liars Tell the Truth. What is your focus on that podcast, and what are your plans to save America in the next 9 months? Go.
Well, The Good Liars Tell the Truth. It's a new podcast. It's out everywhere. You can get it at thegoodliarspod.com.
Awesome.
And we have special bonus episodes on herohero.co/thegoodliars. And on every episode, we talk about an issue or an event, some of which we actually took part in. Not took part in, we maybe were there. Like this last episode that just came out today is about January 6th. We were there in D.C. on January 6th. We saw the storming of the Capitol. We saw people getting beat up in front of us. We thought we were going to die at one point. And that, of course, is what you would think you'd hear about on January 6th. But there was other parts of it that were just as bizarre, not as scary, like that, because we shared a hotel with militia members who ended up storming the Capitol. And they were very polite to us in the hotel lobby. They would like, let's say you first on the elevator. Mm-hmm. But then when we went to sleep that night, we started hearing them screaming from their rooms while playing loud, heavy metal, pump up music, screaming at the top of their lungs, we're taking it back tomorrow, 1776. Wow. And that was those are the memories that I'm going to take away from that, being this is bizarre. This is weird. And I can't believe that I'm sharing a hotel with these people, many of whom ended up on FBI wanted lists. And we saw them beating people up hours later. It was just an unforgettable experience. So the podcast, we've got stories about that. We'll be talking about current events, talk to people from the world of comedy and politics. It's been a fun year in the works for it. And we're really excited with the quality of it.
That's fantastic. And no, I'm going to put that on my playlist, and I'm going to listen to that one in particular because that sounds both hilarious and bone-chilling at the same time. And I really want to hear that one. Again, it's The Good Liars Tell the Truth. Please check that out. Guys, you do such fantastic work. Again, Jason Selvig and Davram Stiefler are the good liars. They're fantastic pranksters. They're exemplary satirists, and all the best to you. Thank you so much for doing what you do, and thank you so much for being on Facepalm America today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us here.
Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I want to thank Ace Elson and Rosabelle Hine for being the producers. And this is a product, by the way, of twosquaredmediaproductions.com. You can find out more at that web address. Please share this episode with your friends on social media. Take a link, post it on social media, let people know about it that way. It really helps us. And until next time, enjoy the day.